Hi, and welcome to another Before You Buy on Fret Tips. This time we're looking at one of the holy grails of guitar speakers, the 12-inch Celestion Gold. With a price tag of around 300 euros, this is one of the most expensive speakers out there, and with a power rating of 50 watts, you can pretty much stick it into any amp from 15 to 50 watts, making sure you don't drive the 50 watters too hard. With 100 decibel sensitivity, this speaker is plenty loud and super dynamic, with the Onyco magnet compressing the tone when pushed, mellowing the highs a bit while still retaining clarity, and taming the boomier low end, delivering articulate and punchy mids. It feels as if the Gold brings out the best in every amp I've ever put it into. Vox AC15, Marshall JCM 900, the Marshall Studio 15, the Fender Princeton Reverb and Deluxe Reverb, the Mesa Boogie Studio 22 and the Lone Star, and the Stiletto Ace, where it is now. Effectively, it's smoothing out any top-end sizzle and accentuating the best tonal characteristics of these amps, while imparting its own unique mid-heavy tonal fingerprint. The Gold really is worth its weight in. So, why should you buy the Gold? Now, there's plenty of good reasons. If you have problems cutting in the mix, if you want to improve dynamics in the sound, if you want an overall louder sound, if you want to tame the high end and excessive lows. On the other hand, why should you not buy a Celestion Gold? Now here's where it gets tricky. Everybody's trying to sell you this speaker as the be-all and end-all of all speakers, but there isn't plenty of good info regarding what this speaker doesn't do that well. And that is, first, giving you an even, flat sound for rhythm. Keep in mind, this speaker is an explosion of rich middle tones. As a guitarist, getting to cut through with pleasing mids is somewhere at the top of my goals. But doing that with another guitarist doing a solo in the mix and trying to lay down a neat rhythm under that, well, that's a whole nother thing. With rhythm work, you mostly need to retain clarity and get a flat, compressed, less dynamic sound to sit lower in the mix. And the Gold simply doesn't do that. Achieving that with the Gold takes a lot of work with the EQ, the guitar knobs, sometimes even combining that with a separate EQ pedal or treble booster. And if your amp doesn't have a flexible EQ, especially without a mid control, the Gold might not be your ticket. And number two, giving you a chugging, tight and aggressive bottom end. The Gold will mellow out your bottom end as well, giving it a bit of a cut and rounding out. Now this is really good for the studio if you're recording tracks with a busy mix, where you don't want any low-end booming, and you leave the lower frequencies to the bass or keys. But if you want heavier, chugging guitar tones, and need a super tight bass with snap, well, that's not what the Gold is about. That doesn't mean you won't get a decent tone for riffs, just the general attack in the lower frequencies is a bit slower and loose, so any speedy downtuned riffs will feel spongier and muddled. One more thing. At 4.2 kilograms, the Gold actually isn't that heavy of a speaker compared to the almost 5 kilogram speakers like the Vintage 30 or Eminence Red Fang, which is by far the closest contender to the Gold. Check that one out. And that's about it. That's what you should know before you buy a 12-inch Celestion Gold speaker. Hit them subscribe and like buttons, and if you have any questions or experience of your own with the Celestion Gold, put it in the comment section below. See you next time on Fret Tips.